Good afternoon and good morning. This is Ethan Perry from Loyalty 360, welcoming you to our Loyalty Expo Speaker Preview Series. In this series, we connect with presenters who will be joining us at this year's Loyalty Expo in Orlando, Florida, from May 20th to the 22nd. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Neil Tenzer, Vice President of Customer Loyalty, Insights, and Engagement at Tractor Supply Company, and Shamba Schmidt, Vice President of Sales Solution Consulting at Epsilon. Together, they will be leading a session titled Getting CX Right Means Prioritizing a Data Strategy: What, Why, and How. This session is a must attend for any brands looking to activate their loyalty strategy with high quality, first-party data and real-time consumer insights. Neil, Shamba, thank you both for being here with us today.
Absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
To kick things off, for those who may not be familiar, could you each give a brief introduction to your role and how your respective organizations handle loyalty? Neil, let's start with you.
It'd be shocking if that very long title wasn't immediately clear, Ethan. But yeah, so I support what I affectionately call our LEAP team. It's an acronym. It's Loyalty, Engagement, Analytics, and Personalization. So I'm very fortunate I get to lead our Neighbors Club program, which has now 40 million members, as well as all the direct customer engagement and the analytics and research and data science that supports how we make sure we get the most relevant content to each customer at the best time. And for those who are not familiar with Tractor Supply, I'm very proud to be part of this organization. We are the largest farm and ranch retailer in North America with over 2,500 stores, about 2,300 Tractor Supply stores, as well as 200 PetSense by Tractor Supply stores, which is a specialty retailer. And we just recently acquired Ally Vet, which is a pet RX company. We are a needs-based, demand-driven lifestyle retailer. Our customers depend on us for all things life out here, whether that's feeding their dogs, Ethan, like we were talking about a little bit earlier, or tending to their properties. So that's a little bit about Tractor Supply, a company that I love, and I think we've all shared a little bit about.
Awesome.
I'm Shamba Schmidt. I work at Epsilon. In my role, I work with brands and folks like Neil to really think about how they are trying to influence their customer journeys and the relationships that they have with their members or their customers in general, how they can effectively leverage their data and a MarTech stack that will really help them drive personalization, drive growth, and expand their relationship in a meaningful way with the end user, their consumer.
Thank you. So during your upcoming session, you'll highlight that even the most sophisticated analytics can't overcome poor quality data. Shamba, can you elaborate on what quality data really means in a loyalty context? And what are some common pitfalls that brands should watch out for?
Yeah, absolutely. Quality data is foundational to running any program at any level. And it's also probably one of the most undervalued assets that we start with. Any data is good data, and honestly, that's not always true. What it really means in the loyalty context is that it has to be quality. The quality is deemed by how complete or comprehensive is this data, how accurate it is, meaning is it in real time so that all systems that are using it have capability to have a single source of truth. So it's consistent across all channels. And finally, is the data actionable? Is it structured in a way that allow you to create user experiences that feel unique and personalized? And it doesn't happen with, I always say, like with hope as a practice. It really comes with a methodology. And that's one of the things that we get excited to talk to Neil about all the time, is because this principle of making sure that his data is good is so important, because it dictates how well everything that comes after in that customer journey is going to bring to life for him. And when we start to talk about some pitfalls, I mean, the end of the day, we can collect too much data. And if you start to take too much from a member and you don't plan to use it, they start to wonder why you're asking so much and they're not getting kind of an exchange in value. Or pitfall could include siloed systems where you have me look like this over here and me look like that over there. And then I feel like it's a very disingenuous relationship that I have with the brand. So making sure that you're looking at your data and your consumer information in a unified way, so that you can be careful to you don't fall into the trap of outdated, inaccurate information in these silos, so that you can continue to drive a robust experience. Also, not really evaluating the data and looking at what you're seeing in terms of insight to help you refine and evolve your program in a meaningful way. And then really just delivering on it in real time. We've all gotten to a place where we want it, and we want it now. So making sure that your data is in a place that allow you to actually leverage it in a meaningful way in the moment, at the right time, the right place.
Awesome. So Neil, I know you've spoken about the importance of making loyalty programs easier and more rewarding for the customer before anything else. Can you give us an example of how this principle has guided decisions in the Neighbors Club program?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Ethan, it builds on a lot of what Shamba was talking about, and I think it's two parts. I think it's about it's influenced by the customer, it's spending time with the customer, and it's influenced by the data. I'll bring that to life, and we'll certainly talk about that in our session. But to give you an example, a few years ago, we acquired a wonderful organization called Porshland Farm and Home, and I was in stores with my team talking with one of our new team members who was talking with one of the customers that came in, and the programs were changing. And they were actually a little bit familiar with the Neighbors Club program. And they came in, I had just started supporting Neighbors Club. And the customer was asked by the team member to enter in their phone number to be a Neighbors Club member. And the customer responded with something along the lines of, "Oh, I'm a Neighbors Club member. Yeah, sure. I don't know if I get that much from that program," which, as the guy who is now newly supporting this program, was just such a dagger, right? But it drove something, because I listened to the customer, and it forces you, compels you to go back and look at the data, to Shamba's point. And what we saw was we had a default setting in our rewards program where, while we give 1% back, customers weren't triggered to receive a reward until they had spent about $1,000, which precluded a lot of our customers from actually receiving those rewards on a regular basis. So by looking at the data, we saw, oh, well, we don't have to change the economics of the program. We just have to make it more rewarding on a more frequent basis. But you don't get that just by looking at the data. You have to spend time with the customer. And so I think, to Shamba's point about having really great data and really great partners like Epsilon to kind of partner with, to kind of work through those types of things and get those insights from the customer firsthand, and you put those together, that's where you can get a really rich and rewarding experience that's very relevant to the customer, that's meaningful in the long term, and it's not just a transactional relationship. I would just add one more aspect to that, which is, don't look at the rewards as something that you're intending to break. I think a lot of companies get in the trap of looking and counting on that breakage rate and when they develop their program. And I think at Tractor Supply, we spend a lot of time trying to make sure that our customers always use the rewards, because that's mutually beneficial. We want them to get the rewards, and we want them to feel like they're getting rewarded and shop with us more often.
Cool. So Shamba, from your vantage point at Epsilon, what are some of the most exciting or innovative ways you see brands using data right now to strengthen customer relationships?
That's a great question. And, honestly, it's like timely just after everything Neil just said, because most successful brands that we see using data aren't using it to sell more necessarily. Now, Neil's like, wait, what? But they're using it to show that they're listening, and they're building trust, and they're creating a value, a collaboration of value. You need this, I want to give you that, right? Like this is reciprocal relationship with their customers that ultimately, if you just trust the process, does translate into selling more, but it translates in a way that keeps them shopping with the brand. So when we talk about some of these tactics at scale, it's like predictive personalization. What are we doing? How do we expand? If they're buying this, how do we expand them to that next category? Emotional intelligent engagement. So like, not what you want them to do, but what is it that they're most likely to take advantage of in the program in terms of an engagement tactic that'll allow you to continue to drive and influence their relationship, but yield information that you can use to influence that journey. Dynamic rewards, and this is great because Neil's kind of set me up for some of this stuff too, right? And the fact that not just what you want to give them, but listening to them so that you can give them what it is that they want, or where that they can stay engaged and excited about the program. And another way I would say is like this context of hyper local targeting. And this becomes really important for brands like Tractor Supply because, as you said, it's life out there, right? So they're in very obscure locations, and honestly, making sure that whatever it is in those locations they need, whether it is dog food or if they need for expansion of ranch property stuff, that they can do it and they can offer it in a way that's meaningful to what is happening in the region or the location of that store. And when we get it right, we can not only make it feel right for the consumer, but we make it feel right for the brands because they're really being able to drive an experience that's not only at the enterprise level and it's right, but it's at the local level and it feels really good.
Nice. Wow. I mean, this is going to be a great session. Neil, I'd love to wrap it up with some thoughts for the people who are going to attend your session at Loyalty Expo. What are the top 3 takeaways you hope they leave with?
I think first and foremost was back to what I was mentioning before, spend time with the customer. As an economist and as a data guy, I love rolling around in the data. I absolutely do. Shamba and I talk about that, between Epsilon and Tractor Supply. But the best ideas come from inside the stores. They come from our customers and they come from our team members. So number one, spend time with the customers and your team members. Number two, we spent a lot of time talking about AI and technology. But I think that as we increasingly use those and leverage those technologies, they become table stakes. Everybody has to have them. And so the really important thing and the differentiator is, can you put people at the center of that, real life relationships, and how do you leverage that? At Tractor Supply, that relationship between our team member and the customer is so incredibly important. We almost try to make all this technology invisible behind the scenes, right? To just enable and strengthen that relationship. And the third is just getting started, being comfortable with test and learn and overcoming the inertia of what can be billions of permutations of data and just starting with the one. And I think that's really the last point I would leave, and very much looking forward to this session. I think, to your point, I think Shamba and I are going to have a great conversation and hope to share that with the rest of the audience.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Neil and Shamba, for joining us today. I'm really excited. I'm going to try and make sure that I get to go to this session if I can, because it sounds really interesting. And, I look forward to seeing you both at Loyalty Expo and learning more about how data strategy can truly elevate the customer experience. See you then.
Thanks so much.
See you then.